I think Tesla's future is going to be absolutely insane. They have too much innovation, too much investment, and just too much potential for all the things that Tesla is doing. And it's pretty darn exciting. And it's the reason why I'm going all in into Tesla stocks since the early 2020s. And I'm going to continue to hold at least the 2030s. And that's exactly what this video is going to be about. What I think of Tesla for the foreseeable future. From now till 2030. I've already made this whole list and I posted on X. So if you guys want to follow along, pause, go to my X. Make sure you guys follow me there as well and get that page up and ready. And then you can follow me year by year because we're going to do this year by year. And I do think this is something that Tesla could achieve on a yearly basis from now till 2030. And here's the crazy part. Elon Musk confirms it too. We'll talk about that at the end of the video, but let's get down to it. Smash that like button, hit subscribe if you guys haven't already. Let's go. I'm going to be looking at my laptop a lot because that's where my points are. That's how I'm going to read because it's a lot of points. I mean, it is from now till 2030. So I do apologize if that seems to be annoying. So that's why I recommend you guys to go to my X account and go on that post that I posted exactly what I'm about to read to you guys so you guys can follow along. All right, let's start off with 2024. So in 2024, in August 8th, we have the Robotaxi unveil. And the plan will be, what I'm expecting, is that they're going to show what the vehicle looks like, the unveil what the Robotaxi looks like, or the cyber cab looks like. But more importantly, they're going to talk about how the Robotaxi is going to be implemented, when they're going to start, how the app is going to be, how much it's going to charge, all these interesting details that we want to know. Now, some are saying that the next generation vehicles are also going to be unveiled, but I don't know. We have to wait and see what's going to happen in literally less than 3 months. So it's exciting stuff. FSD take rate increases. I do predict this. China will come online, as you guys already know. Tesla and Baidu made a deal in China for FSD. So that's going to be really exciting. And it looks like, Tesla and China, they move very quickly. So I do expect sometime this year, FSD is going to come online beta first because it's a whole different country, whole different rules of driving. And then slowly it can go into how Tesla's doing the supervised version, all that kind of stuff, which is a pretty big deal. The third thing that I do expect, or I do see happening or foresee happening later this year, is the continuance of car sales for Tesla being sluggish due to unchanged interest rates. Now, I do expect we may see one interest rate cuts. I know Sweden just did it and Europe is looking to cut rates this summer. Don't get your hopes too high about that, but it looks like they are going down this route. And if it happens, that's great for automakers and such, and homes as well, to go back up in price. But if there is no cut, Tesla will have a hard time with their car vehicles later this year and even in 2025 as well, because if we don't get any cut this year, that means, well, we expect to get cuts in 2025, which will be minimal. When it comes to megapack factories and gigafactories, I do expect new plans to be announced this year. Not breaking ground because we have Mexico that hasn't broken ground yet, which, speaking about that, I do expect them to start breaking ground later this year. It looks like it has to happen by end of the year. And 2024 looks like when they're going to start, when they know for sure how to make this new generation unboxed version, or maybe it doesn't have to be unboxed. Just make the current lines in a small part of the factory, and once the unbox is ready, they can, make that for the whole entire factory. So I do expect this needs to be breaking ground sooner or later. It just can't be in a limbo like this, especially now that it's been more than 1 year, and by end of 2024 we'll be itching to 2 years. I mean, they have all the permits and everything, right? So all that. Shanghai Megapack Factory, of course, that's going to be ramping. That's going to be insane. That's going to be pretty darn interesting. But that's 2024. Not too much interesting thing. The most interesting thing here is the Robotaxi, of course, and the FSC. 2025, however, I do expect new generation models to come out, cheaper models, but not the unboxed version, because Tesla did say, or Elon did say in Q1 earnings, that the next generation vehicles are going to be made with the current lines. So it's not unboxed. I do expect Tesla to start rolling or testing out the Cybercab or the Robotaxi end of 2025 with small numbers, and then maybe in 1 or 2 cities like San Francisco, or pretty much Waymo is. I do expect FSD take rate to start increasing drastically, but slowly. Same with China, as I do think there's going to be an FSD beta there starting first, and then it can go slow to supervise, as I mentioned earlier in this video. And FSD opens up in few or maybe a couple European countries, just there, because Europe is behind. The fact that you get China first before Europe, it just shows you how slow Europe is. So I do expect Europe to speed things up and say, okay, in a couple countries, maybe in Germany, right? Maybe in the UK, places that are easier to do. I mean, well, Germany, there's a lot of bureaucracy there. Maybe in another country that's easier and more open, that they can test out these, FSD stuff with current vehicles. When it comes to interest rates in 2025, I do expect 2 mini cuts, 0.25s, nothing too big of a change, just a little bit. It looks like we are going to a good and strong and fiery economy. I mean, Europe is on fire. The US seems to be doing really well. It's just a few countries that are not doing very well, like Canada is doing absolutely terrible when it comes to their economy. Some European countries are not that great, but for the majority part, economy is on flipping fire, and there's no need to bring down the interest rates if you don't have to. But inflation, I do see this going down and lower, maybe hitting the 2% mark, maybe even close to 2% mark in 2025. So I do expect a little bit of a relief when it comes to the interest rates there. But still, car sales will still be sluggish. Tesla will be able to sell lower cars, not as many cars as we'd like to, but it is getting better. Megapack factories continues to scale and make more money for Tesla. And I do expect a new Megapack factory location to be announced end of next year, and also a new Gigafactory as well next year being announced. I fully do expect that every single year from now to 2030, there's going to be a new Megapack location somewhere around the world. I think they're aiming for 8 to 10, and they're working on the second one in Shanghai, and I do expect the third one to be announced in 2024, as I mentioned, and another one in 2025, and so on and so forth, and you guys will see. I do expect next year sometime that Cybertruck will inevitably become the best-selling EV truck. Not the best-selling truck, because then you have to scale up close to 750,000 Cybertrucks in a year to be and sell that much in order to be the best-selling truck of all time. But it looks like if Tesla's only aiming for 250,000 or maybe 500,000 at most, don't think that'll be the case. However, though, it'll be the best-selling EV truck. So that is a sheesh moment. That's 2025. Things are getting a little spicy, but still, we're not, I don't think there's going to be much change in the fundamentals, because in 2025, we are getting majority of our sales and profits still from vehicles. In 2026, however, things are about to change. How much? Smash that like button. Let's get down to it. So in 2026, I do expect that bots will start working in Tesla Gigafactories, but on simple tasks, nothing complex, just on simple tasks, as we just saw with the recent video of, the bot, handling the 4680 batteries, all that kind of stuff. A little bit more complex than that, but again, simple tasks. Robotaxi has expanded to other cities, but not full scale in the US. So San Francisco, Phoenix, maybe in California, maybe in Texas, maybe in, not in complex cities, but in, cities that are like not that populated, but still expanding. FSD take rate continues to increase in the US, China, and Europe. Again, it's only with the snap of a finger. That won't be much of an issue. It's just the, approval and regulatory approval in those countries. That's about it. But by 2026, if we're seeing version 12, how good it is right now, imagine 2 years from now. It's going to be it's going to be a sheesh moment. That's all I'm going to say. FSD licensing deals have been made. Elon did say this year they may do a FSD licensing deal. I'm not too sure about that. But in 2026 seems to be more realistic. So I do see more than one to be made at that time. I do fully expect, as I mentioned earlier, another Megapack factory to be announced. At the same time, another mini interest rate cut, maybe another 0.25. If that goes, car sales will be better. Next generation of vehicles, which is the unboxed, system way of doing it, starts to get produced end of 2026. I do fully expect this in the Giga Mexico factory there. Maybe they'll do another Giga factory in Shanghai. I'm not too sure about that, but I do see this happening by end of 2026. They kind of have something, right? They have to have it done. They have to have something done at that time. Another Gigafactory announcement, and I do think that may be the last one in 2026. That's going to be about 8 Gigafactories, because, well, I'm going to tell you why, because in a bit, the last one here is Semi going to mass production, as they said themselves in 2026. That Semi is going to go on mass production, and that's going to be a sheesh moment as well. Moving on to 2027, I do see Optimus, or the bots, Tesla bots, expand to work more on complex things in the Gigafactories, essentially replacing dangerous jobs. I'm sure there's some dangerous jobs in the Gigafactories, because it is labor in a way. So I do see it maybe taking over the things that, considered to be dangerous in 2027. I do see Robotaxi continuing to expand, but at an exponential rate in the US. So they're saying that, okay, oh my God, 2026 was moving to cities. Now this thing has gotten so good, so well, so cheap, and so affordable that now all other cities, maybe even North America, not just in the United States, will start using robotaxis on mass scale. FSD take rate soars due to now Tesla applying for level 4, level 5 for all Tesla vehicles in North America. And if this happens, right now, they're considered to be level 2, and Tesla can easily, go for level 4 right now, but they want more data. So that's why they're keeping it at level 2. Only when they know that they're when they know it's time to get to the next level and they can do it on mass scale without any interruptions, I think that's when they will do level 4, level 5. And I'm saying by 2027 here, an FSD take rate will soar. Because level 4, level 5 means you can put the car on self-driving, go back to the back seat and sleep. Like, it's going to be to that level, which is a sheesh moment. And in that case, you're giving back people their own time back, and that's worth a lot. And that's why I do expect it to soar big time. I do expect more FSD licensing deals to happen at that time as well, because if you're level 4, level 5, and you're doing all these things with full self-driving, I can see other automakers coming to them and say, hey, get us your software as well. We need to sell our vehicles too. Third generation vehicles scaling with $25,000 vehicle included. Again, I'm saying 2027. Let's see what will happen. Another Megapack factory announcement I do expect as well sometime, or end of 2027 as well. Moving on to 2028, the bots or optimists learn more important and complex roles and replace more dangerous jobs. I'm thinking here they're going to replace human jobs to a level that it's capable of doing, and things that these bots can do 20 hours a day, but still on the lower end jobs, not on the complexity job at the moment. But I do see the bots slowly taking over. I do see robotaxi growing exponentially all over the US even more, to the point that it's impacting vehicle sales due to how cheap it is to robotaxi everything. And here's the crazy part. If Tesla can master robotaxi and make it as cheap as it possibly can, and how we're hearing is like $1 or $1.50 per ride, and then it's like what, 25 cents, 30 cents, 50 cents, maybe even $1 per mile driven. If you're driving 5, 10, 15, 20 miles a day, and if it's, let's say, $1 and you're driving 20 miles, let's say 40 miles a day back and forth from your work, that's only $40 a day. And that's at the max. That's at the max. If we have robotaxi on mass scale, we can probably cut that by half, by $20 a day, which is extremely cheap. And if that's the case, and it's your own, and when you summon or when you call the robotaxi, it's your own vehicle, you can do anything you want, you can do your work in it, you don't have to look at a tarmac anymore. People will go like, what's then, if it's going to come right on time and there's all these robotaxis on the road, I don't need to be driving. It's a waste of time. And this is my logic here when it comes to, sales being impacted because of this. And because of the self-driving is so good, with current owners of Tesla owners, I can see FSD take rate continuing to soar in all parts of the world that's allowed. I do believe that FSD licensing becomes a necessity. If you don't have it, you are left behind. And I'm talking about the automakers here, other automakers, if they don't want to license out Tesla's FSD. And could they become a supplier to other autos? Because they do have to make the cameras in the right places and all that kind of stuff. And other automakers, they outsource everything. Maybe Tesla will become the other part of the outsourcing when it comes to the camera. So this will be an interesting part. Tesla becoming a supplier of other automakers, which would be pretty darn interesting. I do expect another announcement, 2 announcements for 2 more Megapack factories, and a factory for the bots. So the 2 Megapack factories, I do think those are going to be the last ones, maybe. I'm not too sure. I do think we do need more Megapacks all around the world. So I don't think they could be the last ones, but I don't know, maybe they'll upgrade the current one. That's what I think about the Megapack factories, but a factory for bot producing. So imagine Tesla makes a factory where the bots are going to create the bots in 2028, because now it's ready. And talking about the bots going into 2029, I do see bots continuing to learn crazier and complex tasks that start to take over bigger jobs in the Tesla gigafactories. At this point in time, I do expect Tesla to start to sell bots to other manufacturers, which is why in 2028, I do see them making a bot producing freaking factory that the bots produce the bots. When it comes to robotaxis, I do see them expanding to China and Europe in mass scale, which does impact vehicle sales in some parts of the globe, start to stagnate or go down due to affordability of the robotaxi. Again, if it's that cheap, why do I need to get a car? Why do I need to waste my time driving? Or, why spend $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on a brand new car when I can just get a robotaxi and it's just much cheaper than that, right? FSD take rate, I do see this continuing to soar in all parts of the developed world. FSD becomes mandatory in some countries and cities due to safety reasons, and I completely can't see this. I can completely see this. In fact, I can even see this, that if you're going to be full self-driving and if it's mandatory, and this is still early, you don't really need to get a license for it. In 20 years time, I don't think you even need a license to get behind a wheel ever again. But at this time, mandatory of countries, cities, of some select areas, because it's just so dangerous to drive. I think this will become a thing. This will become a reality. FSD licensing is going to be in full effect at that time, because at that point, why buy a car when it's going to drive you around? So at that time, that's going to be the main selling point. And the reason why I'm going all into Tesla stock was because of all of these things. Forget the cars, man. FSD. That's it. Robotaxi. 2030, the last year, Tesla starts to mass produce bots to sell. Maybe it goes to work on Mars with Elon's mission of going to Mars, all that kind of stuff. Not too sure about that. I mean, could be a reality, because instead of sending humans up there, you can send the bots and you can do the things that they gotta do. Crazy idea, crazy prediction, crazy thought, crazy what I see, but not out of the question when it comes to Elon Musk. I do see Robotaxi continuing to expand in all parts of the world where it's developed. Third world countries, I do see them start to slowly test out robotaxis, because if you look at India, imagine getting a robotaxi to work there. Good luck. FSD take rate continues to soar in all parts of the developed world. I can clearly see this. Some expectations in undeveloped countries as well. Not having an FSD, and here's what I do strongly believe this. Not having an FSD as a feature by 2030 is considered as a dangerous driver in some developed countries. I mean, at this point, maybe in Dubai, for example, a very developed country, it's city at least, very developed city, and I do see them having this full self-driving thing as one of the main countries, UAE being one of the countries and one of the main cities in the world, probably being the first city to fully regulate it and approve it. I do see this happening with Dubai, and I completely see it happening, that, hey man, if you don't have this full self-driving technology in your car, you're a dangerous driver and your insurance is going to be much higher, and you just got to be careful. I don't know, something like that, but I do see this. And the last thing here for 2030 is more countries make more parts of cities to be FSD mandatory. This part is too complex to drive. You must have FSD enabled here. Essentially, it'll come to a point that you should not be driving at all. Just let the car drive you around, maybe in 50 years, 60 years time. Maybe it won't get to that point, maybe it will, but I know majority of dangerous places to drive, you would need to have the mandatory FSD. For sure, I can completely see this happening. Now, that's what I foresee from now to 2030 for Tesla's future. Two things that I did not mention. One thing, when it came after like 2027 or something, vehicle sales, I didn't mention that because it becomes irrelevant. It just becomes irrelevant. You got the bot, the robotaxi, the FSDs. These vehicles are already out there. So it's just software at this point, right? The bot, in a way, is also software because you just make the machine and the software and the plugins, all that kind of stuff. So the vehicles become irrelevant. Then when that becomes relevant, interest rates becomes irrelevant for Tesla, because now you're just selling software, you're selling bots, you're selling robotaxis, things that actually help in a recessionary time. So really, interest rates, all that kind of stuff, it won't matter. I didn't mention the small stuff like the insurance or the superchargers. That also grows with the assumption with, other small Tesla businesses that Tesla has within that business, because there's many businesses in Tesla. Now, here's the crazy part. Elon Musk agrees with this. He agrees with the changes that's going to be happening with Tesla. And he says it himself a lot. Tesla's not a car company, man. It's an AI and FSD company. And he comments on this one post here on X with this post saying, I remember everyone calling Netflix stupid for splitting off their DVD business and doubling down on streaming in 2011. And what happened then at that time is pretty much what's happening right now with Tesla, saying that, hey man, you focus on the cars, don't focus on the other stuff. At that time was the same thing with Netflix. Hey man, don't focus on the streaming. No one wants to streamline. That's stupid. Focus on DVD. But they saw the data, they saw, what's going to happen with this, and they doubled down on it. And look at Netflix now. Look at Blockbuster. They're not even around anymore. And Elon comments to this post saying, now apply this logic to Tesla. I mean, what does that tell you? It tells me, forget the cars. Look at the AI and FSD. Look at the FSD. Look at the robotaxi. Forget the bot as well. Look at the robotaxi. This is the way. this is the way. And we'll look back 5, 6 years from now, 10 years from now and say, this was the way. Elon Musk confirms it. And looking on how I see how Tesla's going to be in the future, once we reach 2030, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't, vehicle sales doesn't not matter. Whether they do 20 million vehicles or not, eventually I think if they can sell $20,000 vehicles and they can sell the FSD and it's cheaper than anything else out there, then maybe they can do 20 million. I personally think that they could, but it's probably going to be mid 2030s and it's going to be the lower end cars or probably even the robotaxis themselves. Things are changing in Tesla. Things are completely changing in Tesla. It's morphing into a whole new company. And I made a video about that right here on how they're changing right in front of our own very eyes. Now, obviously, this video is all my thoughts. Comment down below what your thoughts are. And as well as go to X and comment on that post that I made, which is exactly what I read to you guys here, and what your thoughts are every single year. And, you know, what you disagree and agree. Let's have a conversation on. These are pretty interesting things. But anyway, check out this video. It's pretty interesting. Guys, support the channel by becoming a channel member or getting a About the Dip t-shirt. Subscribe, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.